What's up, YouTube? Your boy back once again with another sport topic, and today we're gonna talk some football, Houston Texans football. Today we're gonna do something a little different. Now, in my personal opinion, this upcoming game versus the Indianapolis Colts is the most important game on the schedule. One, because it's a division opponent, and two, because this division opponent has already beaten you, so you have to walk away with the victory. Now, I'm sitting up here thinking, who's this game important to? And I narrowed it down to three people who I believe this game is the most important to. Three individuals on this team that I believe that this game specifically is more important than any other game. And this is the reason why. I'm going to give you in reverse order. I'm going to go down from the person who I believe is the least to the person who I think this game matters to the most. So we're going to get into it. I ain't going to hold you up too much. Now, the first person I want to name is cornerback Bradley Roby. This is the reason why I think this game is important to cornerback Bradley Roby. Now, in my personal opinion, I think Roby has played solid this season. Not too bad, but not too good. He's been playing solid. He's playing decent. He hasn't had a bad game, but he hasn't had an overly good game in my opinion. I think his best game is the game versus the Chiefs. Right before he got hurt. I mean, he was making a couple plays there, here and there, but that's the word. He hasn't really been making too many plays. Now, in his defense, they haven't been throwing the ball towards him. And, that's the mark and sign of a good corner when they're not targeting you when they're throwing away from you. But still, remember, the reason why this game is important to him is because he's on the 1 year proof that he's trying to earn bread. He's trying to get a contract. I think we signed a 1 year, $10 million deal. So he's trying to earn the contract. His play so far, yeah, has been solid, but it's not enough to earn a payday. It's not enough to get him in the top up echelon of corners. So as it stands right now, he's probably pretty much made himself the exact same amount of money he's already making. He hasn't cost himself money by no stretch, but he hasn't earned himself any money either. And remember what he said in that press conference. Oh, they brought me here to cover Ty. That's what they brought me here for. They brought me here to cover Ty. That sound good. That sound all good and gravy, but you gotta prove that on the field. Now I don't have no problem with you talking trash, especially coming from my DBs. I ain't got no problem with you talking trash. But you talk that, you gotta back that up. And we didn't get the chance to see you play against T.Y. Hilton last time because you didn't play the game. That was your first game that you missed. I think when you missed four, you missed Indy, Oakland, last week against the Ravens, and then the game in London. So you missed 4 games. You trying to earn yourself a payday, you have to come out here and prove it, especially against Ty. And now the Colts out there flirting with Ty gonna play, Ty not gonna play. He don't need to practice. He out there practicing. He would have practiced this a full week. Honestly, I don't think that. I think they actually messing with the Texans. I think they playing with them. I think they toying with the Texans psyche because we know how big of a thorn T.Y. Hilton has been in our side. What, in 16 games or 15 games, he has 15, 16. He has a season's worth of games and has a season's worth of stats against us. Like he's averaging over 100 yards. I think 200 yards in NRG. He averages over 100 yards against us. Period. So we that's something that we struggle in is covering Ty, and that's what you say. We brought you here for, so I need you to back it up. You trying to earn that payday, you need to cover Ty. And like I said, I think they're torn with I think they're torn with us. They're trying to make us think that Ty is playing. I think if Ty does play, he's more so a decoy. 'Cause I don't think he's 100%, but I want Ty to play. I want Ty to play at his best. I want Ty to play because I want Bradley Roby to prove that you earn this contract. You want this contract? You gotta go out there and prove it. I want you to go out there man to man, cover Ty, hold him, lock it down, so we could pay you. Then we okay, yeah. Now we have a reason to pay you. Now you out here locking up Ty. Now we have a reason to pay you. So I think this game is extremely important. One, he needs to prove that he's healthy, and two, he has to finally get himself on track to start earning the contract. Because as it stands right now, he hasn't earned himself any money. And this is going to be his biggest test. The Patriots don't have any receivers. Denver doesn't have a quarterback. The Titans, the Titans, I know they got Ryan Tannehill going on right now, but who knows how that's going to happen? Maybe against Tampa because they are putting up a lot of yards, but Jameis turns the ball over a lot too. So who knows? This is probably going to be your biggest and best test right here. So I think it's you. This game is very important to Bradley Roby. The second person on my list is defensive coordinator Romeo Cornell. The reason why, now I know we gave up 41 points against the Ravens in the last game. That's not the worst. The worst defensive game that we had was the last game against the Colts. because that game was completely awful on the defensive side. I mean, you had Ebron, you had Pascal. I know when I did the game breakdown, I kept calling Siakam. I was in my basketball mode, I guess. I passed out. I'm thinking Pascal. I don't know, but I was messing him up. I messed up his name. My bad. But Pascal was wide open. Ebron's wide open. It wasn't even Ty didn't even kill us in that game. It was mostly Pascal and Ebron because every time they caught the ball, a Texans DB was the closest was 5 yards away. They were running wide, butt naked, open. Wasn't nobody near them. I was like, what kind of coverage is they running? They was wide open every single time. I think what Jacoby Brissett was Offensive Player of the Week. We made Jacoby Brissett become Offensive Player of the Week. Not to mention, you've lost to Jacoby Brissett 4 times. You lost to him 4 times. You can't beat him. You lost to him once in New England and 3 times as a Colt. You got to do something defensively from a scheme standpoint. I think this was his worst game. Now, again, no Roby. This is before you trade for Conley. Before you picked up Hargraves off of waivers. Only thing you had was Lonnie Johnson. I know Lonnie got hurt, but it looks like Lonnie might be a game-time decision. Lonnie might play. So, hopefully so. Now, you have talent. At the very least, when it comes to your secondary and your DBs, you have at least talent. Say what you want to say about Hargraves and about Conley and about Roby. All these guys were taken in the first round for a reason. I know there's been plenty of guys been taken in the first round that have been absolute first round busts. I get that. I understand that. But if they're taken in the first round, they at the very least have some type of talent. And I think from a talent standpoint, just from a pure talent standpoint, it might be the most talent secondary from a corner standpoint that we've had since Rack has been here. Like from a pure talent standpoint, because at the very least you have 3 guys who are relatively young. What Hargraves is 22, Conley is 24. No, Hargraves is 24, Conley's 22 or something like that. I know Roby's the oldest; he's only 27, 26. So you have a young collection of talent. Do something now. Again, these are all guys who play man. These guys are man-to-man corners. That's what they're specifying. That's their specialty. Roby can play some zone. Conley's weakness is zone. And actually, Conley's been playing pretty solid. I mean, he had a rough couple of stretches against Oakland, but he came through with the county. He played a good game, an extremely solid game against Jacksonville. I know everybody played a bad game against the Ravens. I'm not going to hold that Ravens game against the corners because everybody played a bad game. It was just one of those bad games. The Ravens that came out there, they whooped us. Everybody played bad. Everybody on the defense played bad. And then the one play where Conley got snagged on for the touchdown, he was in position. He even got his hand inside the receiver's arms to try to break it away. It's just that he's a short corner, and the receiver, when he got his hand in there to swat it, he made the receiver separate his hands, but the receiver was able to palm it and able to keep it in his hand. So he was in there enough to make a play. He just was a smaller corner and just was he was in the right position. The receiver just made play. Lamar put the ball right up there. The receiver caught it at his high point. So he just the receiver and the quarterback were on better page. And the corner is one of those things that no matter how good of a DB you are, it really wasn't that much you can do. Maybe Jalen Ramsey or a bigger type of corner could have made a better play on the ball than Conley. But Conley was in the right position and still tried to recover and make a play. I guess it's the former cornerback in me, it's the former DB in me that gives you a benefit of the doubt in certain situations like that. So I'm not going to crush him too much on that, but for the most part, Conley's played solid in the other 2 games. I know he had a rough couple stretches in his first game against Oakland. He got to get acclimated to the defense, but he came up big when it counted towards the end, and he had a completely solid game against Jacksonville. I know it was against Minshew, and it's against Jacksonville, but he still had, I can't take that away from him, he still had a solid game. Like I said in the last one, Roby has been playing solid in the times he's been playing. He's played solid. Nothing too great, but hasn't had any bad play either. He's played solid. Hargraves, we going to see. Hopefully, Lonnie Johnson can step on the field and be healthy. We already know what it is with Jonathan Joseph. But I think that Rack has to come away with a better defensive game plan to stop Jacoby Brissett and cannot allow these receivers and tight ends to be walking wide open all day. Like I just said about Ty and Roby. Ty owns you. And this is before Rackman got here. This is even when Wade Phillips was the defensive coordinator. Ty has owned you. Now, I know a lot of that is with Andrew Luck at the helm. But some of that is with who else they had their quarterback? Matt Hasselbeck a couple times, Jacoby Brissett a couple times. Like this is other quarterbacks that have had helped Ty get to these numbers. Rack, you have to come away with something. This game is extremely important to you. You need to find a way to come up with defensive skills to show that you're capable of confusing and beating this team offensively. You can beat this offense with your defensive schemes because we all have questions. We all have questions, and we've been wanting to get rid of Rack for the past 2 years because it kind of begs the difference and raises a question, and raises the eyebrow on why after 16 they were so quick to move Vrabel, the defensive coordinator. We questioned it, and then during that season, we wanted to get rid of Vrabel, and we did, and we clamored for Rack back. And then after the third game last year, we like, man, Rack might have lost his fastball. I think he has. You got to prove that you got it back. You got to prove you got one more pitch in you because it looks like you lost your fastball, and it's time to get in the defensive coordinator. So this game is important to you. Now, the person who I believe this game is the most important to, you already know what I'm about to say. William Bill O'Brien. Yes. William O'Brien, the GM, Bill O'Brien, the head coach, however you want to slice it, that man right there. This game is extremely important to Bill O'Brien. We already know there's not really much to go over, but I'm going to go over some. Because the other head coach, Frank Reich. You faced Frank Reich in the regular season 3 times. You were 1-2 against Frank Reich. At the postseason end, you're 1-3. And you know what? You've lost 3 straight. 2 of those have been at home. The India 9-game win streak last year and the playoff game, which was the worst one of them all. Because remember, you were down 21-0. Then, this last game, I know you lose Philla. You can even go back and go, hey, in the last game at home, we didn't have Fuller then. Demaryius Thomas wasn't himself. We ain't had no offensive line. This. In the playoff game, Hop was hurt. Hop wasn't doing this. Last game, Will Fuller got out. We ain't have Roby. We can go through all that. You know what? Last game, the Colts ain't have Andrew Luck. That's the biggest chip they can drop. We ain't have Andrew Luck. This guy, Frank Reich, constantly finds a way to beat you. One, he's beating you 3 straight. And then the game that you won, I know a lot of people want to say, well, the only reason why we won that game because he went for on the 4th down. I mean, if you want to nitpick, I mean, the Texans had an 8-point lead with 2 minutes left to go in the game. The Colts had no timeouts, and they drove the length of the field, scored a touchdown, and got a 2-point conversion. I think that's more so on defense. Rack, that's why I got to put you back up here because of that situation last year. You get to overtime, and I know I'll say Hopper had no drops last year. I said this then. I said it after that game. I said it when that first came out. There was a drop in that game. Deshaun throws a touchdown to Hop. Hop didn't make the catch in overtime. I guess they deemed it uncatchable because it wasn't like a period like it went through his hands, like dropped it like that. I guess it was deemed uncatchable, but it is what it is. If that happens, you don't even get to the Frank Reich decision. Him going forward on 4th down and not getting it. But it still doesn't change the fact that you are 1-3 all time against this Indianapolis Colts team led by Frank Reich. You don't want to go 1-4. And if you go 1-4, 3 of those losses at home. Because this is at home. This game is extremely important because if you can't beat nobody, you can't beat your uncle in the division because you know you play your daddy in 2 weeks on Sunday night against Bill Belichick. That's your daddy. You play your daddy on Sunday, 2 weeks from now. You can't beat your uncle. You ain't going to be able to beat your daddy either. So, this game is important to me because you guys showed me that you're able to beat quality coaches. Forget quality teams. You guys showed me that you're able to beat quality coaches in your own division. Because it's one thing that you can't be a quality team that's outside your division, outside your conference. I ain't really tripping about that. You can't beat nobody in your division while you are head coach. At home at that. You're going to lose 4 straight. I mean, you've already lost 3 straight. You don't want to make it a 4th straight one. I'm looking at you. I'm pointing at you. Everybody what about a quarterback? Hey, man, Deshaun got 800 credit score with me. Deshaun has showed me in big games, little games, the best opponents, the worst opponents, the mediocre opponents. Deshaun can come in and play some football. Last game notwithstanding, he had a bad game. Hey, players mess up. Players have bad games. He a human. He not a robot. He not a machine. He a person. He gonna have a bad game. You gonna have a bad drive. You gonna have a bad play. You gonna have a bad game. So Deshaun good with me. I'm pointing at William O'Brien. I'm pointing at Bill O'Brien. Like, what are you gonna do? When are you gonna step up and actually coach a legitimate team to a legitimate win? Like when are you gonna step up? This game is at home. They've already beaten you. This coach has beaten you 3 times in a row, twice in a row at your own house. Do something. This team is in your division, because if you lose this game, you lose control of the division, because the Colts have swept you. Well, they'll go to 7-4. You'll go to 6-5. So any chance of you to win the division, any chance of you win the division, you have to be a game above them. So you would need them to lose 2 games. You would need the Colts to lose 2 games for you to win the division. And you have to win out. And any game you lose, you would have to add another loss on top of that for the Colts. It ain't happening. It ain't happening. You cannot lose control. We got too much talent on this team to sit up here and lose control of the division like this. So you have to do something. This game is extremely important to you. Because if the Texans lose to the Colts, you have to. They're not going to be able to fire him on Friday. I know a lot of people want to fire him on Friday. You're not going to be able to do that. You're not going to be able to do that. But you going to start flipping through the pages looking at who is available. Who can I call? The Jim Harbaughs. Like I said, the Lincoln Rileys. The Byron Leferages. You're going to be looking at other coaches who could be free, who are free, and see what can I do. Because this guy can't get it done. If he can't beat nobody in your division, why is he your head coach? If he's up here getting dominated, you let him dominate you like Watt used to dominate Mettenberger. Like Watt used to dominate Zach Mettenberger and Blaine Gabbert and Blake Bortles. That's how you look. You are those quarterbacks, and he is JJ. He's JJ. You are Zach Mettenberger. You Blaine Gabbert. You Blake Bortles. Out there just easily getting 4-5 sacks a game. Easily. We always talk about Bill. We always talk about Bill Belichick. We need to be worried about Frank Bush. Frank Wright, whatever his name is. I think his name is Frank Bush. That's what we need to be worried about. We need to be worried about him, because we can't even beat him. He in our own division. Let alone somebody that's not in our division that we only play once. We play him twice, and sometimes might have to play him 3. Unacceptable. You have to get this win. This is extremely important to you. So like I said, Roby is important to Roby. He needs to earn a contract. He has to prove his worth. He had that claim that he can cover T.Y. That's why they brought him here. It's important to you. Rack, because I feel that last game was our worst defensive performance, especially coming from a secondary. Now, at the very least, you have talent. You have guys who have speed. You got guys who can play man. Don't play him in zone. Play him in man. Let's see what kind of systems you can do. Like I just said, the only win that we got against this team within the past 2 years, you allowed them to drive down the field with no timeouts in 2 minutes, down by 8, and get the 2-point conversion to send it to overtime. You got to correct that. And then Bill O'Brien, 4 meetings against this guy, and you're 1-3, and 2 of those games are at home. You gotta do better. Like, share, subscribe if you haven't. Comment below if you haven't. Click that bell to get more videos. I holla.